Hello, viewers. Welcome to MBTV Weekly Property Roundup. We bring to you top developments from Indian real estate space, which is going to have a lasting impact on you as consumers. I'm Prasoon Kumar, Marketing Head of Magic Bricks, and with me is Jeffrey Kuru, Senior Real Estate Journalist and Editor-in-Chief of MBTV. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Thanks, Prasun.
So lots of news coming our way. The first one is where Center is now ready to sign agreements with states under the Affordable Rental Housing Complexes scheme. How is this going to impact the entire rental market, and what is in store for consumers? Therefore,
See, Prasun, if you look at how city after city went under slum pressures because we never managed to create any housing at the base of the pyramid. Today, they are doing that. There is a distinct effort to create rental housing, and the government has picked up its own built up but not allotted housing as the first lot of houses that will happen, that can be done. I think about 30 cities have said that they have houses which the government has built. In addition to which, what's going to happen is anyone who has land or who has stock, they can put their houses up for rent. And there are some laws that came. The mission director of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana himself came on MBTV and he did a show with us. Important thing here is that because the migrants walked home so many, they are returning, and you want to make sure that there is some space in the cities where the migrants can live. Does that mean that as soon as the migrants come, there's sufficient housing for them? No. It means that we're working towards it, and it's work in progress. A beginning has been made. Now the center is going to sign the agreement with the states. There's going to be some hand-holding that will happen from the center to the states, and the states to whoever the operators. So I think somewhere the entire rental market at the base of the pyramid is going to get structured. It could include student housing, affordable student housing. It could include young adults who move from smaller cities to big cities. It would include them also, and it would also include the migrant workers. And from dormitories. Units onwards, it can be different kinds of units that will be part of this.
And worldwide, we definitely see rental housings being very, very structured any which way. It's now happening in India, and that's really a good news.
Yeah, it's structured rental housing, actually, institutional rental housing that we're moving towards.
That's it. Absolutely. All right. Now, the another news came where Haryana has now changed the registration of property sale deed rules. What necessitated this, and what is the impact for consumers?
Rasul, suddenly there was some over the last 2 weeks. It has been noticed that a very large number of plots across the Gurgaon is on the foothills of the Aravali's, and a lot of land that was otherwise either as protected forest or not open for development in the planning structure has been registered to individuals, and that was mostly done because through the collusion of some tehsildars and naib tehsildars, they've identified 6 of them who have been suspended. Now the thing is that before a property can be registered, NOC has to be obtained from the town and country planning department. This is not done. So the process has been modified. Now the joint commissioner, the deputy commissioner, will be responsible for signing off this whole thing, and he cannot do that without an NOC from the town and country planning. We have good planning norms actually, but the norms were always violated, and there have been no enforcement of our laws. I think somewhere we are moving towards a better governance system.
And one wishes that, considering Aravali's have been so misused from the very beginning, that there is a permanent solution to all these, and there is a check in place so that these things don't happen in the first place.
Prasun, there's no end to human greed. Yeah. And with greed, if there is collusion by officials, that's what's happening in any place where there is forest land which can be grabbed. And that's what we see.
Yeah. And greed and a lot of other things also led to a lot of problems for consumers who had booked flats in Noida Expressway with JP projects and never got them. Now, for one of the projects, which is JP Knight's Court, the conciliator at UP RERA has come back and said that if buyers want, then JP Knight's Court can be completed under supervision. How significant is this development?
Very, Prasun. I think this is a working model which a lot of stuck project consumers should be able to embrace. When RERA was created, one of the norms of RERA was that it can facilitate consumer groups to get their projects completed. Now, we know that JP is already in resolution. There is a lot of effort to, it's a lot of units that are stuck. But there were a few projects that were outside of the resolution. That was part of the Jayaprakash Associates. And both Calypso Court and Knights Court come under that scheme. So what the UP RERA did was, with Calypso Courts, they formed a resolution team which included the buyers, which included JP as the developer, and all money that came was escrow counted and monitored by the RERA. And it became the conciliation court was able to bring it to resolution. Now the resolution professional, Mr. Paliwal, he has actually told them that why don't you do the same thing for Calypso Court? But a certain number of percentage of consumers have to come together for this resolution to work. And that's what he's offered as a resolution. And I think a lot of consumers, if consumer bodies can get together, 70-80% of consumers are agreeable, this is a working model. Last Saturday, we had the chairman of UP RERA and the chairman of MP RERA who did an exclusive show with us, saying that out-of-the-box solutions have to be found for projects which are held up, because they've given a moratorium for developers because of the pandemic, but they're now trying to see whether out-of-the-box solutions can be given to consumers who are also under the stressed category.
Sure, and I think we do need a lot of such out-of-box solutions for completion of a lot of these uncompleted projects for years now. And one such project was JP Wishtown, again in Expressway, probably the single largest defaulter in that sense. Now there was a lot of hope that came about when NBCC was awarded the contract finally to build the flats and deliver. But again, there seems to be a setback there where buyers have been left in lurch as construction has got stalled in recent times. Is it COVID? Is it other challenges, or there's something more to this?
There are many aspects to this. Prasun, before we begin, I'm going to request our producer that the shows that we refer to, if you can put it on the chat,
yes,
consumers will benefit from it. Right, the previous shows, and if we can't do it while we are live, we'll definitely put it on
later. Yes,
it can be
live on Facebook, so it can be done later.
That's right.
Yes.
We would actually pick up the Wishtown. Remember that when NBCC took over, it said that it would not take over any liabilities. In this case, some of the liabilities have been passed on to it, JP's liabilities, which it says it's unable to take up. And that, therefore, JP had gone back to court. JP had said JP had contested that. Not JP, NBCC had contested that. The second thing is that NBCC is saying that even before they start work on the ground, there is a lot of work, back-end work that has to be completed in terms of papers, in terms of monitoring, in terms of finance, in terms of getting everything ready so that work, once it starts, work moves smoothly. Now, consumers justifiably are very agitated that work hasn't begun as soon as it was awarded. Work was supposed to start on 6th of August, according to the order. But remember that there has been a pandemic in between. From March to July, work has been very tardy, right? Completely stalled or very tardy work. Now the consumers are a little worried that no work has started on the ground. Will this stretch on indefinitely? There hasn't been any formal communication of whether there are new timelines, and that's why the consumers are agitated.
And NBCC, when it's constructing this entire thing, is also doing it under the supervision of NCLT, or is there any supervision body which is looking after a timely completion of this now?
Yeah. It is under supervision. There will be. It has been given to NBCC. NBCC is the execution agency, but the entire process is being monitored.
Right. All right. In a bit of a positive development, news came about that property registrations are up across Tamil Nadu. Why in Tamil Nadu we do see this rebound happening?
If you read the fine print, it's happening in all other places in Tamil Nadu except Chennai and districts immediately around it.
Mhm.
This is the new trend that we have noticed post COVID, where tier 2 and tier 3 cities have seen a lot of uptick. So
Mm.
there is property registration happening in the smaller towns, but in the main cities, the growth has not been as much as in the smaller cities. And when we look at the numbers, we see this is actually what we're seeing. That smaller cities are seeing more registration.
Mm.
Larger cities, the registration is good to pick.
Okay, so there is a groundswell happening from smaller cities, and hopefully soon it will reach larger towns as well. All right, for benefit of our viewers, on our Facebook channel, we have just put in a link of the rental housing policy, affordable rental housing policy show that we had done. Please do have a watch of that. All right, Jayashree, the next piece of news came about where for HDIL, the Housing Development and Infrastructure Limited, which was the struggling body, and Adani Group, Suraksha, Suntech Realty, and three more bidders have come forward to acquire this debt-laden entity. Now, what is the significance of this? Once it gets acquired, how is it going to help consumers at large?
Prasun, globally, asset reconstruction is a formal, structured business. In India, it was a very informal thing where they would have joint agreements and get it through. With such large entities like HDIL, JP, Amrapali, Unitech, large groups have gone under, and we have to have formal, structured finance to get them back on the rails. Now, we have seen that in all these projects, what we have noticed is there's not enough money to complete the project. While project is cash flow positive, but to first execute, there is not enough money. Now, that is being supported by the Asset Reconstruction Fund, which has been created, which is created by the Government of India, managed by SBI CAPS. You need asset reconstruction companies which have the finance and the capability of taking risk. Because when they take risk, because there's juice in the project, it is still cash flow positive. They will be able to execute, complete, and then wait for the returns to come. And that's what we've seen. Companies like Adani, Suraksha, and so on. There's a new category of asset reconstruction companies which have the risk-taking appetite which are coming up in the country. And you can see that when in the first instance when JP and all, there were only 2 or 3 that were coming in, and everyone was relying on NBCC to become the one asset reconstruction company. Today we are seeing almost 6 bidders in the bid that closed on the 31st of July.
All right. So this was it for this week. We'll come back again next week with lots of important developments happening in the Indian real estate space. Keep watching MBTV.
Thank you.